Nokk is being changed in the latest season of Rainbow Six Siege, and in this video we'll fully break down how to use this new version of her and also fully test all her abilities. So we'll begin with the biggest change, and that is that her ability no longer depletes. As long as you are just simply walking or standing still, your ability will not run out of charge. However, I will note that when you switch on your gadget, you use about 10% of its energy, so switching it on and off over a short period of time will actually drain the battery. But resource managing this gadget means you can actually potentially have it on for the entire round. Now, things that can deplete this charge is shooting, throwing grenades, meleeing, sprinting, and of course anything that would have glitched out the previous version of Nokk. Now, of course, it's not all positives here. We have some major drawbacks. The biggest one is that it takes 120 seconds to recharge her ability to full. Now, thankfully, she can switch it on at the 20% mark, but it means for players who are going to play this version of Nokk, they're going to have to be resource managers. What I mean by that is if you get into a firefight and your ability is on and you fire off 10 rounds from your gun, then you're going to end up with 0 energy in your gadget, and you're going to be sitting here waiting for it to slowly come back up. So you're going to want to tactically switch it off at times. But like I said earlier, switching it on also uses up charge. So you don't want to be switching it on and off all the time throughout the raid because you eventually will deplete it. But you do want to, of course, switch it off when you do things that are going to deplete the battery. So you have to be very mindful to manage this energy very efficiently so you can use it most of the round, if not all of it. Now, on top of these gadget changes, there's also a reduction to the recoil of her SMG, which is the FMG9. And be noted that Smoke also benefits from these changes. For PC, this is reduced first shot kick, reduced horizontal recoil, and the recoil will remain stable for longer during a sustained fire burst. However, on console, it is just a reduction in lateral recoil. And with me being a console player, I do notice the reduction in recoil on controller. And then the main reason for the recoil change is to actually help with magnified scopes like ACOGs. And of course, Smoke doesn't have them, but reduced recoil is reduced recoil. And then I'm kind of hoping that when we do get to year 20 of Rainbow Six Siege, maybe she'll actually get an assault rifle that can be balanced independently for her. Now let's have a look at what this looks like from the defender's point of view. So of course, when you're controlling the operator, they can see Nokk no matter if her ability is on and off, and of course that is unchanged from before. But then when she activates her ability, she goes invisible to all observation gadgets. So of course you can see here that we can see her glitching, but that is it. And the glitches happen when she's shooting, sprinting, vaulting, meleeing, throwing gadgets, or taking damage. But if she's doing none of these and simply walking, then you get no glitches whatsoever, and there's no visual indication on the actual screen that Nokk is even present. So a good player can sneak right by these observation tools and no one will have a clue that she's coming up behind you. Now when it comes to the new operator Scopus, there is some significant differences. So of course, if Nook's ability is not on, she'll be visible like this, but if she switches it off, she is completely invisible, even when doing glitchy effects. So meleeing, sprinting, shooting, she will actually not show up at all. And this makes her especially good at countering the new operator, because if you find one of these robots, you can walk right up to it, come up behind it, or even just wait in front of it. And that way it means there is 0 warning that the monster is waiting to assassinate you. Now let's talk conclusion. Although I think this is a significant change overall to the mechanics of this operator, and current Nokk players are going to have to relearn how to play her and become resource management officers looking after that energy bar, I do think she's going to be just as scary as she was before, and I think she'll be better than she was before. However, I do think there's going to be quite a learning curve with this new version. I don't think you can jump in with the same tactics you had and just expect them to work out fine. I think you're going to have to tweak those tactics, but there is potential here for big improvements for gameplay. And then when it comes to the recoil, that's the one thing I don't really know if it's going to make a huge difference or a little bit of difference. I would still prefer to see Nokk getting some sort of assault rifle that is unique to her, that can be balanced independently of other operators. And of course, Smoke here gets away with a nice buff to his weapon just because he shares the weapon with Nokk. So for Smoke players, this is lovely. Now when it comes to overall balancing graphs, by next season I expect to see Nokk go from here on the attackers for PC up to here. Not much of an overall difference. And then for console, I actually expect her to pretty much remain in exactly the same spot she is now, with no significant movement. But one thing I do expect is the players who are able to master this new version of Nokk will go around and absolutely destroy and be extremely powerful. And they are going to need a range of stuff. They're going to need good mechanical skills so they can win the gunfights. They're going to need to have good map knowledge to know how to sneak around. They're going to have good resource management with using up the energy in this gadget. And then overall, if they can pull that all together, they're going to be extremely good with this new version. And they're the ones that I'm scared of, because those are the operators who are going to kick ass with this new version. I think it is an improvement over the old, and the people that master it are going to become incredibly good. So we'll see how this plays out in the long term, but I don't expect generally for the player base to suddenly turn around and be playing a bunch of this operator. I think she's still going to stay relatively unused compared to other operators out there. But anyway guys, let me know your conclusions in the comments below with all the information I've passed over to you today. And thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.